How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the House of Horror, and today we're going to be taking a look at some of my horror VHS. This isn't everything I own, this is just basically what I have in this room right now. I have a lot of stuff in the garage that's just kind of like rat shit, as we call it in the industry of collecting tapes. So these are the ones that I have right now that are just kind of worth talking about. This is obviously not the best collection, like not even relatively close, like compared to Jared's and Dan's and everyone else's. This is absolutely fucking nothing. So I just want to point that out. These are just what I have. I'm not one of those kind of guys that has a shit ton of tapes or necessarily wants a shit ton of tapes. I just kind of like what I like, and I have what I have. So I don't need to have an overabundance of tapes. I just kind of have the stuff that I think are cool. So let's just start. These are in no particular order whatsoever. They're just in giant stacks here. So let's just kind of go through them. So first, we got Popcorn. I've actually watched this movie with Jared. This movie is really, really fun. It's about like a movie theater, and I don't want to spoil anything because this one is a must-watch if you haven't seen it yet, but this movie is really fucking good. It is on DVD, so if you can't find this on VHS, this is on DVD and Blu-ray, I believe, actually. Some of these are on VHS only, like this one right here, Lunatic. If you guys have seen our episode of Lost on VHS, you already know about this one. This movie is really, really fucked up. I do not recommend this movie for most people. There's a lot of rape, bad, really, really terrible shit in this. So, don't watch this. I'll just say don't watch this. It's very bad. But if you like stuff that's like messed up, and if you like SOV, this one is one that you should definitely check out. But 99.9% of people, stay away from this. Stay far away from this. This is Wolfen. Not much to say, just a classic, werewolf movie. We've got Nightmare on Elm Street 5, one of the worst ones. Believe. I know absolutely nothing about this movie. I got this from someone who just bought like a video store, and he was selling all the tapes. This one's a red tape, actually. I didn't realize that till now. Let's just take this out. Rare. Red tape. Be kind, rewind. So I know nothing about this. Maybe someday I'll watch it, but I doubt it. Because no one ever watches all the tapes they have. Like, everyone has all these tapes and no one watches all of them. Return of Swamp Thing. Not much to say. Swamp Thing's cool. He's not the coolest dude in the universe. Dracula's the coolest dude in the universe. Swamp Thing is a close second. The Uninvited, this is a ghost movie. This is a really old movie. If you like old movies, check it out. If not, stay away. Ghosts on the Loose, this is a Bela Lugosi movie. It's kind of a comedy, but I keep it with my horror movie because it's about ghosts and goblins and spooky stuff. Vampires, John Carpenter. Love this movie. Love the majority of vampire movies, but not all. But this one's good. I mean, John Carpenter can really do no wrong. I mean, he's done some wrong, but not usually. Toxic Avenger, Director's Cut. This one is necessary viewing. Everyone needs to see this movie. Don't necessarily watch it more than once if you don't like it, but this is a movie it was a sensation when it came out. Again, it's not for wide audiences, but it's something that most people should check out if they haven't seen it. Children of the Corn, classic movie, not much to say. This scared the crap out of my mom when she was little. The Ghost of Mr. Chicken, this is a comedy, 1000%, but I keep it with my horror movies because it just kind of fits the theme. And I really like these old movies that have, like, the artwork where it's a drawing, but it looks, like, realistic, and it's even got, like, more on the back. So I just really like this tape. So that's why I have it. Invaders from Mars. I haven't seen this, but I have to. I mean, look at these aliens right here. We got this guy with these weird-ass, like, tentacles and a giant skull cap thing. And then we've got this alien that looks like a green Bigfoot with bug eyes. Like, what's going on with this guy? Like, what is this movie? I gotta see this. Attack of the Crab Monsters, classic B movie. Not much to say. Crab Monsters. My uncle actually gave this to me. He used to talk about this movie all the time when I was a little kid. And he got this for me for my birthday or Christmas. Or maybe he just gave it to me at some point when I was a kid. So this is actually one I've had, like, forever. So that might be the first tape that I got out of these, like, besides, like, Disney tapes. I have The Ring. This is mainly because I feel like the only way to watch The Ring is on a tape, because in the movie they watch it on a tape, like a tape called The Ring. And that's kind of what was like so scary about it when you see it like back in the day, because in the movie they watch a tape called The Ring, they die in 7 days, and then you realize you just watched a tape called The Ring. And so those next 7 days are going to be the most stressful days of your life. Horror of the Zombies. This is a infamous movie. A lot of people have this in their collection, and so do I. Okay, so we got Patterns. This is not, by any stretch of the imagination, a horror movie, but I feel like I should bring this up because this was basically the launching pad of Rod Serling from the Twilight Zone. This is what really put him on the map, and this is why we have the Twilight Zone, because, I mean, after this, he became a super famous writer, and then they let him have his own show where he had complete creative control. And yeah, and you see the greatness of his writing even early on in Patterns, which was one of his first things. Got Psychomania. This is another one that a lot of people have in their collection. I haven't watched it yet. I'm assuming it's pretty good, but again, I can't judge it without seeing it. This may or may not be lost on VHS, I'm not sure. World Without End. I haven't seen this one either, but look at the alien in this one! This was like a cross between a Mothman and a walrus. Like, what's going on with this? And then this girl's kind of like scantily clad. It's kind of risque for the time. Yeah, there's not much to say about this one, except that I want to see it. And what's this guy doing? I don't know. Filmed in CinemaScope. Very interesting. Got Leprechaun 3. Hell yeah. When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth. So, this is a movie about dinosaurs ruling the earth. I think I watched this one as a child. I had this one from back in the day as well. So I have not watched that in probably like 20 years. Day of the Dead, great movie. Love it. I actually don't think I have this on DVD. So that's why I keep the VHS around. Dracula 2000, this movie is probably fucking terrible. I have not watched it, but maybe someday. The Old Dark House. This is a very, very good movie from back in the old days, starring Boris Karloff. This was like right after Frankenstein, so he's kind of like typecast as just like this brute who doesn't speak. But it has another villain who's like a mental like scientist. He was like a mental patient or something. He's like absolutely nuts. Who's like locked in the basement. This movie's just really, really good. And I actually have 2 copies of it. One's sealed and one isn't. I'm not sure why I have 2, but I do. Cemetery Man, I brought this up in my DVD collection video, that the movie The Deader the Better from Cinemassacre is basically the same thing as this. But they're both good movies. I don't think James stole the idea or anything. I think he actually made that before he even knew Cemetery Man existed. This movie's really crazy, and at one point the main character gets his man parts removed surgically. Yeah, this movie is just all over the place. Yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Not one of the best, but certainly not one of the worst. Along with Halloween 4. Not one of the best, certainly not the worst of the Halloween movies. And yeah, this is not even the mask from the movie, I don't think. I think this is basically the first Halloween mask. Oh, maybe it is the mask from the... No, it's definitely not the mask from the movie, because the mask from the movie is way too smooth and the hair is slightly different. So I don't know what the fuck mask that is, but it is not the mask from Halloween 4. Zipper Face, haven't seen this, know nothing about it. You're gonna see a lot in my collection that there are these movies that I believe are from like the 90s or early 2000s, that if they would have come out a few years earlier, they would have just been on DVD. But they're not popular enough to be on DVD now, so they're just kind of on VHS. So I think Zipper Face is only on VHS, but I'm not positive, don't quote me on that. The Brain. This movie's awesome. We reviewed it in season 1 of Lost on VHS. Very good movie, check this one out if you can. This one is still lost on VHS, unfortunately. This should be on Blu-ray, but for now, if you can get your hands on a VHS, definitely check it out. Fade to Black. I don't know much about this one, but this is one that a lot of people have in their collections as well. I want to watch this soon, but yeah, I mean, it looks interesting and a lot of people have it. So this one isn't necessarily like rare or anything, but I guess it's just a popular one. Night of the Demon. More about that later. An American Werewolf in London. Just a good movie. Everyone knows this is a good movie. Horror Planet. I haven't watched this one yet. This one I think is also lost on VHS, and this was a contender for one of the ones we did for Lost on VHS this year, but we weren't certain, so maybe some other time we'll review this one. And next we have The Silent Scream. This is a spooky movie, man. I actually don't know, I haven't watched it. But, looks spooky, the cover's kind of interesting. I genuinely don't like the covers that are just like a color and then the screenshot from the movie is like very small on it, but this I think like the color tones actually like kind of work on it. I don't know. Definitely not an excellent cover, but it's not the worst. Darkness Falls. So this is another one I think that should have come out on DVD, but I'm not sure. It's just like so obscure that like why would you put this on DVD? Like I don't think there's a demand for it. Like I don't know. Blair Witch Project, this is another one I feel like if you're watching it, you should watch it on VHS because, I mean, it's that kind of vibe, you know? Like, if it's supposed to be like a found footage movie that they're shooting on these big-ass, like, VHS cameras, so, like, I don't know, I just feel like it's appropriate to watch this one on VHS. The original Nightmare on Elm Street, the best Nightmare on Elm Street, here it is. Robot Monster 3D. I do not know if the 3D actually works. I have not watched this tape. But I'm very familiar with the movie. It takes place at Bronson Cave, and basically this fucking gorilla suit with a scuba mask just kind of walks around. And there's a bubble machine, and they're called Roman, even though I don't know what a Roman is. Hellgate, not much to say. Gate from Hell. Crawl Space with Klaus Kinski. We're gonna see another Klaus Kinski movie coming up soon. I'm not 100% confident this is even horror, but it's close enough. What does it say on the back? He seduces them in his mind and then traps them in his crawl space. Yeah, this has got to be like at least a thriller. This might be horror. I don't know. I'm keeping it with my horror. It's my collection. I can do what I want. So we got Werewolf. This is another one that probably came out in the early 2000s, late 90s, and is just so obscure that why would anyone want that on DVD? Night Stalker. This is one of my favorite movies, just in general. It's a vampire movie from the 70s. It was a TV movie. Stars Darren McGavin, who is most famous, besides for the Night Stalker character, he is most famous for playing the dad in A Christmas Story. This is his superior work. He played the character of Carl Kolchak not only in this movie, but its sequel, and also the series Kolchak the Night Stalker that was on after the two movies aired. It was only on for a season, so it was short-lived, but the Carl Kolchak character is just a really, really good character, and this is a really, really good movie. It's very underrated. 1000% check this movie out if you like vampires or movies or just anything. Just watch this movie. Just watch this movie. Sleepwalkers by Stephen King. Haven't seen this one since I was a little kid, and me and my brother went through our Stephen King phase. So I bet that this is pretty bad nowadays. But back in the day, it was probably some scary stuff. Boris Karloff in The Body Snatcher. So this movie is a classic movie with Boris Karloff. Bela Lugosi's actually in this very, very brief. Oh, that's Bela Lugosi right there. Bela Lugosi's in this movie very, very briefly. Karloff steals the show in this one. This is one of his best performances. And he's basically just like a dirty rat. He's an asshole, but he's a likable asshole. And I don't know, this movie's just really good. Definitely, if you like older movies, this one is a must-watch. And it's one of Karloff's best. It's one of his more obscure. Definitely check this out. This is Nosferatu, also with Klaus Kinski. It's the Werner Herzog version from the 70s. A lot of people hate this movie, a lot of people love this movie, but, you know, I don't think you can top the original, but this one is good in its own right. From Beyond, another classic 80s movie. Check this one out. The Reincarnation of Peter Proud. I'm not confident this is a horror movie, but it's definitely a suspenseful thriller. I think there's like ghosts in it or something. I haven't watched this one. But, I don't know, I think it's close enough to horror that I don't count it. The Prophecy with Christopher Walken. Everyone's got this one in their collection, and I am the same. Yeah, not much to say. Christopher Walken, Aliens. Can't go wrong. Twilight Zone the movie. So if it wasn't for Patterns, we wouldn't have this, or the series, or Night Gallery, or anything else. Because Twilight Zone influenced so many shows that are on now, even if you don't think about it. Influenced Breaking Bad, Sopranos, everything. The Twilight Zone redefined television. And this movie, although it's not the best, It has some decent retellings of some of the Twilight Zone episodes. I definitely recommend watching the original series and not this movie if you have the option. But this movie's good, and if you're curious, check it out. It's still pretty good, but obviously not as good as the original show. Soul Keeper. This has got to be another one that I mentioned before that's just like, why would you put this on DVD? I don't know. It's got one of those covers that are like trippy. Yeah. The Abyss. It's a classic movie. Could definitely go on the sci-fi side, I think. I mean, it's about like deep sea diving and science and shit and discovering scary stuff. So this could go either way. I keep it with horror. So this is a Dracula documentary. It is very, very not factual whatsoever. It's hosted by Vincent Price. It's pretty entertaining, but basically 90% of this documentary is about Vlad Tepes, otherwise known as Vlad the Impaler, who they claim was the inspiration for Dracula, which is just untrue. So this isn't the most factual thing out there, but it's still a fun watch, actually, even with its inaccuracies. And yeah, Love at First Bite, Dracula movie. Actually, not Dracula, just vampire movie. I haven't actually watched this one, but I will at some point. Prom Night, absolute classic. End of Days with Schwarzenegger. It's Schwarzenegger versus the devil, man. Like, this movie's bad, but you know what? It's Arnold versus the devil. Like, come on. Return of the Zombies. I'm not sure if this is related to Horror of the Zombies. I'm assuming it is, but I could be wrong about that. But this is another one I see a lot of people have online, so this one must be pretty common as well. Monkey Boy, I think this might be a little bit rare. I'm not sure. This one I think just got released on DVD and Blu-ray recently, which is a shame because I think we were going to do this for Lost on VHS at some point, but can't anymore because they just released it. So this is The Bat with Vincent Price. Very old movie, good movie, not anything to like write home about, but decent enough. Jesus. We got Ed Gein. I did not pay $4.99 for this. I think I paid a dime. Haven't watched this. It's probably bad, but he kind of looks like Michael Myers on that side, I guess. I mean, he's wearing a skin mask, but yeah. And the last one I have to talk about, you guys, is Bram Stoker's Dracula, directed by Coppola. I have mixed feelings about this movie, and I had mixed feelings about it the first time I watched it. Over the years, I've kind of gained more of an appreciation for it. I actually wrote a whole essay in college about this movie. So it's definitely controversial, I guess. Not controversial, it's definitely like the opinions on it are pretty split on who likes it and who doesn't like it. But, you know, for what it is, give it a chance, and there's not anything else for me to say about it at this time, I guess, because I'm out of words. And also, I have all of my Godzilla films. I talked about those already briefly, but some of those, I guess, can be considered horror films, but not all of them, obviously, because most of them were made for kids. But, you know, I guess it counts. They're monster movies, so whatever. Let's just throw all those in. So that was my horror movie VHS collection. Again, it's not much. It's barely anything at all, actually. But, you know, I don't want to have a super cluttered house with a bunch of tapes that I'm never ever going to watch. So I just kind of keep what I like. And that's about it. If you guys like this video, make sure you click that red subscribe button, smash that like button, and leave me a comment on what you guys want to see next. And with that, I will see you guys in the next edition of the House of Horror. Take care, and I will see you again.